Galera, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 acaba de receber quase 1 hora de gameplay, 43 minutos, e eu tô curioso pra poder ver. Eles fizeram através da IGN. Muitos de vocês falam pra mim que esse jogo é maravilhoso, é muito bom, é um RPG muito da hora. Eu não joguei o primeiro e eu quero ver se esse gameplay do segundo me convence e me instiga a poder estar jogando o primeiro com vocês aqui em live e tal. Vamos ver qual é que é, né? Pra você que tá animado pra poder jogar o game, bora lá. Vamos ver qual é que é, se é bom ou não. 43 minutos, mano, é bastante coisa. E aqui eles estão dizendo o seguinte: os primeiros 43 minutos. Será que é o início do game? Bom, não sei. Eu vou colocar aqui... Bora, vamos ver.
My word. You're turning into a real master swordsman.
Kingdom Come Deliverance II is this month's IGN First. Throughout December, we'll be diving deep into Warhorse Studios' massive medieval sandbox sequel, with an exclusive preview, interviews, gameplay, and more. We've captured an exclusive look at the opening segments of Kingdom Come 2, which not only reintroduces us to Henry, our protagonist, but also features plenty of siege combat, sword training, dice games, a lovable dog, tough dialogue choices, and more. Enjoy.
Ok. Já fala aí, você jogou o primeiro game, gostou? Me indica a comprar e a jogar? Já vai me incitando aí nos comentários, tá?
What are you doing here? Go and take cover in the keep.
Can't hold out against this onslaught much longer. Go and take cover with the others.
Look out!
Godwin! Where's your weapon? To the battlements! Move!
Father! Will you come to anoint us before we die?
We'll get anointed after the battles are hands. With booze. Get ready! Prepare to shoot! Positions! Take cover!
Tá bonito, hein?
A rude awakening, eh? Make it count.
Nossa, como tá bonito, velho.
Godwin! Over here! Get up there quick! We have to repel them!
Que louco. Ele é bem simuladorzão, né, esse game? Cara, imagina o desespero. Oh. Não dá pra empurrar a escada? Ah, mano, aquelas setinhas que fica aparecendo assim deve ser o lado que ele vai bater, né? A espada, eu acho.
Don't poke at it. Just calm down.
Oh, Dentes Fortuna, fucking you, vat. Jesus. You're only supposed to deliver a message to Trotsky. And the most adventure I was expecting was a fuck or two.
É, eu acho que é o começo mesmo do jogo, cara. Pesadão, pelo jeito. Algumas semanas antes, né?
What's that you keep yelling, Sir Hans?
Good gracious, Henry, you don't mean to tell me you don't know Latin?
My apologies, Your Grace. Unfortunately, I was too busy shoveling shit and picking turnips to find time for studying Latin.
We shall have to rectify that. I can't have an ignoramus for a personal bodyguard.
Anyway, this Audens, whatever. What does it actually mean?
Audentes fortuna juvat. Fortune favors the brave.
Sorte favorece os corajosos.
All we have to do is deliver a letter to Lord Otto von Bergov and ride back again. Doesn't take much bravery.
Christ, Henry, don't be such a stick in the mud. Aren't you glad to be finally out of that hellhole where we can finally enjoy some adventure? See a bit of the world, meet new women, and simply have some fun.
Sure, but you promised Johannes that you'd be as good as gold, and I'm personally responsible for your safety. Besides, Trotsky's in the middle of nowhere, so I wouldn't expect much excitement there.
God help me, my bodyguard's a monk who can't speak Latin.
Sir! Trotsky!
My word. That is fucking impressive. It makes Perkstein look like an outhouse. Bergov must be made of money.
E chuva caindo aqui.
Well, Henry, looking forward to new adventures? Adventures that will become the stuff of legends?
Caramba, que bonito.
In the first place, Sir Hans, we've got a task ahead of us. An important one, and a great responsibility. You don't meet such a mighty noble as von Bergov every day. So, first duty, then fun.
Quiet, monk! You'll just spoil the rest of our trip. It's all clear to me. We deliver the message, get the politics over
Que bonito,
with,
cara.
and enjoy a bit of adventure together. But why didn't Uncle Hannes take care?
Só que uma coisa que eu tô notando é que eles estão jogando no PC, pelo que eu tô vendo, e eles não habilitaram aqui o V-Sync, então tá tendo vários stutterings, vocês estão vendo?
Of it himself, unless maybe he's just testing me.
Why? He must trust you not to botch it up. Otherwise, he wouldn't send
Tá
you
vendo
as
esse
his envoy.
stuttering?
Of course. How could I possibly botch it up? There are foreign armies rampaging through Bohemia. The king is in captivity, God knows where, and here we are in the middle of it all, carrying an important document. No, I intend to make the most of this trip, one way or another.
You're a bit too keen. You never know what might happen.
É bonito, hein?
Henry, don't be such a lily liver.
O que vocês estão achando?
Audentes fortuna juvat. Well, enough of the chat. Trotsky's almost within reach.
Sir Hans! How's it looking there in the back?
All good, Oates. Just keep your eyes on the road ahead.
Exactly. If anything in front of us even looks like it's moving, we want to know.
Keep your hair on, Nick. Old Oak's got eyes like a hawk. I don't miss nothing.
Sir.
Should we get ready for a fight?
Take it easy, Henry. They're wearing von Bergov's colours. They're from Trotsky.
Surround them! Don't let them get away!
Besides, we won't stand a chance against them.
Don't do anything foolish, fellas. Just follow my orders.
Halt! What are you after here?
Is this usually how you greet visitors, my good man?
This is how we greet armed strangers when bandits are pillaging everywhere.
Can you not
Justo.
distinguish between a noble and a bandit, sir?
It's not always that straightforward these days. Who are you people?
Sir Hans Capon of Perkstein. I bear a letter for Sir Otto von Berghoff from my master, Sir Hanush of Leipa.
This is indeed the seal of the Lords of Leipa. And unless I am mistaken, Lord Hanush of Leipa is on the side of King Wenceslas.
Well,
While my master is a member of the League of Lords, who side with King Sigismund.
Que beleza.
So it would appear we are enemies. We're not enemies. We're carrying a message with the aim of putting a stop to the hostilities.
And who are you?
Henry, from Skalitz.
As escolhas.
I'm Lord Capon's advisor and scribe, and now an envoy as well.
From Skalitz, you say? The one that King Sigismund's Cuman forces plundered?
And slaughtered everyone. Even so, I'm not going to Trotsky as an enemy, but as a peace envoy.
Even so, you're still strangers here, and armed strangers to boot. And as it happens, we're on the trail of just such a band. So why should I trust you?
Caraca, velho. A gente vai poder resolver, olha lá, ó, várias situações.
We want to negotiate an alliance. We'll come to an agreement with your lord in Trotsky, and maybe offer to deal with those bandits for you. After all, you haven't been able to track them down. So we can take matters into our own hands. So move aside, and let us, dutiful knights, pass.
Don't provoke me, boy, or you'll pass to a place you don't want to be. Didn't you say you were a scribe? Or are you trying to tell me you're a knight and a scribe? Don't try to pull the wool over my
Acho que ele
eyes.
escolheu coisa errada, hein?
Don't listen to him, Captain. He's traveling with me for the first time, and evidently, he's got a bit above himself.
Ah lá.
We've come on the orders of
Escolheu
Margaret
coisa errada.
Jobst of Moravia, and we bear a message from Sir Hanush of Leipa, Divish of Tarnberg, and Radzig Kobula. Our message concerns the offer of an alliance that it seems you need as much as we do right now.
All right, then. You may carry on, but put your men in their place, sir, before
Hola.
their impertinence leads you into trouble.
Indeed, I will. Thank you, Captain.
O cara da IGN quase que foi merda.
Sorry about the cold reception. You must be cautious. These bandits create mayhem, then vanish like ghosts. We'll be on our way.
Oh, so you won't accompany us to the castle to see your lord?
Sorry, sir, we can't. Listen, you won't make it to the castle before nightfall. Sir Otto's orders are to not admit anyone after dark, especially while we're away. You'd best camp until daybreak.
I'll take your point. I mean, back home, the last time someone let a nobleman in trouble into their castle, we had to bombard it to get him out. Is there an inn in these parts, at least?
There is one, but it's a bit of a way out, and I'm not sure your lordship would like it very much.
God! What kind of a backwater have they sent us to? I just suppose we'll just have to manage somehow. Good luck in hunting down those bandits.
Thomas, captain at Trotsky. Thank you. And sorry again. Farewell.
Farewell.
Tenso, né, mano?
Well, this is a bit of a hold-up. What now? Since there's no tavern within reach, we'll just bed down here for the night. The pond looks inviting, and we've got wine enough.
And what about those bandits?
Well, they're probably keeping their heads down, what with that big patrol combing the woods for them. Come on, fellas. We'll camp here on the bank. At least we can bathe. I stink almost as bad as the rest of you, and you lot are rank.
Friends, off you go. Henry, call that dog to heel.
Come here. What's all the fuss about, Mutt? Are you that hungry? All right, I'll see what I can get for you.
Well, hoorah!
You
Peace
silly
at last. That barking was a pain in the ass.
Cara, tá dando muito stuttering. Não sei como os caras conseguem jogar, velho.
Listen, would you have some scraps for Mutt?
That's a good one. He already gobbled up a piece of venison while I was having a piss. I've got one last sausage and I'll be saving that for the way back. Look, Henry, I'm fond of that beast, but you ought to keep him under control.
Come on, Oaks. We'll get to Trotsky tomorrow, and there'll be plenty of food there. We're a noble's escort, so they're obliged to feed us well. Pheasant in wine, roast pork with apples. Those sausages of yours are only fit for a dog anyway.
For Christ's sake, stop giving me a hard time. I'll have you know that sausage is fucking good. But neither you nor your dog
Lá,
will get
perdemos
to
reputação, olha lá.
Wouldn't you swap it for something?
I might. Tankard has my ring. I lost it to him at dice, and if I go home without it, my old woman will send me right back. If you can get it back, I'll be glad to give you that sausage.
Well, I'll see what I can do.
Eu tô achando a trilha sonora desse jogo muito mais pra ficção do que pra épico. Me parece mais Star Wars, tá ligado?
Stay.
Well then, Henry.
Come on, Conrad.
What?
Let's throw a few dice.
For the love of God.
Jogar
How
alguns
many times do I have
dados.
to tell you? I ain't playing with you.
Why not?
Because you cheat.
I do not.
Oh? And how come you always win then, eh?
That's an easy one. I always win, 'cause you always lose.
I see you've got dice set up. Want a game?
Sure. How's about spicing it up with a little wager?
I heard you won a ring off Oates. Want to bet that?
Fortune favours the brave, lad. But if you lose, you'll pay for everything I order in the tavern in Trotsky. All right? We'll see whose side luck is on today.
Eu odeio jogo dentro de jogo, tá ligado? Eu sempre sou ruim em tudo. Ataque das máquinas em Horizon, Gwent em The Witcher, aquele outro do Valhalla lá, mano, eu sou horrível. Vocês curtem? Já responde pra mim nos comentários. Kalil, eu adoro jogos dentro de jogos. Não, Kalil, eu não gosto, eu pulo tudo. Comenta aí. Quero ver se é só eu que não gosto desse bagulho.
Mother of... Damn your eyes. You played well. Ah, what's to be done? A bet is a bet. Here's your ring. Come on, Conrad.
What?
Let's throw a few dice.
It seems Tankard can't tell a 5 from a 6. I won that ring off him.
You beat the bastard. Ha! You're a dab hand, Henry. Thanks. Will you give it to me? If I go home without it, the old woman will break her broom over my back.
What will you give me for it?
Well, all I've got here is some grub. Want a sausage? It's venison.
All right. And enough games. You won't easily find another mug who'll exchange a ring for a sausage.
Yeah. True enough.
Hey,
Tá, pegamos a salsicha e vamos alimentar o cachorro.
Leave me alone.
Here, mutt.
It's all one little game. And then you go and take my last grocery.
Free.
this is boring. Why don't we carry on to the footy?
Henry, oh, that was a tight thing with the captain, eh?
I got the feeling you'd lost your tongue.
Just for a moment. But true enough. That bastard surprised me a bit.
Well, that's what I'm here for. To deal with that kind of stuff.
And I must say, that was pretty good for your first action as leader of my bodyguard. Let's see if you keep it up. But we managed the situation all right in the end. He even apologized to us. If Hannah had seen it, maybe he'd finally stop treating me like a child, eh?
Well, I don't know. When I look at you, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Kiss my arse. And by the way, since you're here, how about stretching our limbs a bit after that long journey? With a bit of swordplay.
You're in the mood for that after riding so long?
Certainly. So then, eh? Eh?
All right then. Just a bit of swordplay for the hell of it? Or shall we have a wager?
Let's save the wagers for later.
Oh, you afraid?
Keep the biting remarks to yourself. You've got armor on, so just grab your helmet. Here's a practice sword for you. Have that ready too.
This evening at least.
Tá. Olha lá, pode vestir na roupinha, as coisas. Tá.
So, should we start?
Ready? Let's start. Draw your sword.
Hang on. This time, let's get warmed up. I'll attack you a few times. You defend.
Go ahead. Impress me.
Ah lá, ó, o ataque, ó. Você escolhe o lado.
Is that the best you've got?
Meio que For Honor?
Even work up a sweat.
Oh, you will soon enough. A foe in plate armor has to be worn down.
Let's see it then. Attack properly. Now, a longer sequence. Enough!
Now you're warmed up, eh?
Yeah. But you're pretty winded yourself. While you're attacking, you still have to take care you have strength left to defend.
Save the advice and try it yourself.
Gladly. On guard. Nice. That's the way. Good. Nice. Leave me some room.
Tem que ficar guardando.
Good.
Oh, that's enough. No one's ever won a duel just by blocking. You've got to make an opening to strike back. And you do that by means of a perfect block.
Perfect block, eh? You've become a real swordsman.
Start your attack then.
You have to move sooner. That's not it. You mustn't block until after I start my strike.
É o aparo, né? Perfeito.
Try blocking later. Nice! But what about a riposte? Reckon you can manage that?
Why wouldn't I? Nothing to it. I just follow up a perfect block immediately with a strike.
Bloquear e bater
I'll show
rapidinho.
you.
Get ready.
Ó, bloqueou e
Why don't you
bateu.
strike afterwards?
Bloqueou, bateu.
Sweet.
Aê.
Nice. Well, you're not as good as Captain Bernard, but that wasn't bad.
Be sure to remember, if someone gives you a riposte, you can still fend it off with a perfect block. And it's best to follow up right away with your own riposte.
Yeah, right. But what if I want to attack in such a way that you can't make a perfect block?
Then it's best to attack at a spot where your opponent isn't covered. Where he's not holding his weapon. You defend, and I'll show you how.
All right. Come on then. That was so nice. No. That way I can block you easily. All right. I get it. For Christ's sake. Enough demonstrations and explanations.
Let's have one training duel to finish up, eh?
Mano, esse cara que tá jogando... Mano, higiene...
Let's have a wager to spice
deixa eu
things
ficar
up.
quieto, né?
How about 100
Os caras só escolhem uns doidos pra testar os games, né, mano? Fica parado, mano.
All right. 100 groschen it is.
Defend yourself. First hit.
Agora acho que o cara tem que
Now we're
vencer.
even.
Nossa, cara. O maluco vai morrer ainda. Espera o cara atacar, velho.
Put up a fight at least.
Olha lá, ó. Oportunidade de dar o parry perfeito e o cara vacila, velho. Meu Deus, IGN. Olha lá, ó. Acabou de aprender o bagulho, mano. Usa.
You haven't got a hope.
Gente. Ó a estamina dele indo embora, ó.
Put up a fight at least.
Cara, eu gostei do jogo, hein, galera. Tá me convencendo.
You haven't got a hope.
O primeiro é assim também? Nessa pegada, hein? Tomou.
Fight at least.
Estamina, cara. Estamina. Vai pra trás. Espera recuperar a estamina, mano. Olha lá.
Put up a fight at least.
Vai pra trás, mano. Espera recuperar toda a estamina. Aí você regaça, mano. Olha lá. Acabou a estamina de novo. IGN é loucona, mano. Aê, ó. Aê. Espera. Isso.
And you had it. I say the victor is clear. I'll get my winnings from you later.
Olha lá. E o cara desistiu no final.
Sword players give me quite an appetite.
Ele poderia ter derrotado o cara, mano. Essa era a missão. Mas chegou no momento que ele poderia desistir e o cara desistiu, mano. Rapaz. Faz isso não, mano. É até melhor, assim a gente acaba de ver esse sofrimento, né? Pô.
So who won, gentlemen?
That's obvious, isn't it? Henry learned a lesson or two,
Olá.
and I won our bet. At least I'll have someone to buy me drinks in the tavern. It was almost like that time in Rattay.
True. Only I won that time. Your bow, which came in very handy afterwards.
You were unbelievably lucky, beating me after just one day of training. True, I wasn't in my best form that day. We had a drink or two beforehand.
Oats? What's this food supposed to be?
What's left of our supplies. Tomorrow we'll be at the castle, and we'll get some decent grub.
If you told us earlier, I could have shot a hare. And you could have cooked it like they did in the tavern the day before yesterday.
That tavern where you drank away all your coin?
Ha! You've got to have some fun.
And then you tried it on with the innkeeper's daughter when you were shit-faced.
She was pretty. A real peach. Admit it.
Only a fella was there. He was well pissed off. If I hadn't convinced him you were the village idiot and that we dragged you home right away,
And if I hadn't left him a fistful of coin to boot, throwing groschen around like that. Fellas, if a rainy day...
Uma coisa que eu não entendi. Conforme você vai respondendo, tem ali umas opções que é para aumentar atributos de força, agilidade, persuasão. Olha lá, isso aqui, ó. Quer ver? Minha câmera tá tampando aqui, mas deixa eu mostrar para vocês. Ó, tem um lance ali, ó, que aumenta dependendo da resposta que eu der, aparentemente vai aumentar a minha força, aumentar a minha agilidade, aumentar a minha vitalidade e o meu poder de fala. É isso mesmo, galera? E assim, é assim mesmo nos outros games e tal? É desse jeito? Pô, interessante.
If I hadn't convinced him you were the village idiot and that we dragged you home right away.
Achei interessante.
And if I hadn't left him a fistful of coin to boot, throwing groschen around like that. Fellas, if a rainy day comes, you'll be fucked.
Ha! I've got nothing to regret. The whole world turns around wenches. Ain't that right, Henry?
Hmm?
You never gave us the goods on that lass of yours. What was her name now?
Teresa. She lived with that crook Peshek at the mill.
And she saved my life.
A brave girl.
Aye. She's a fine lass. And? Is she any good? Like, is she any good? Get me?
She's brave. She saved my life when I went back to Skalitz after it was razed to bury my parents, and a bunch of mercenaries attacked me. And that's all I'll say.
You know, this travelling isn't too bad.
Apart from the mosquitoes.
Aye. Apart from them.
Where were you yesterday evening, Henry?
Sabe uma coisa que é bizarra? Tava vendo esses caras todos conversando, tal, em volta a uma fogueira. Mano, isso não existe mais hoje, né? Se você tá em algum lugar junto com amigos, tipo, aqui tem uns 7 pessoas, vai, uns 4 vão estar no celular, outros vão estar conversando entre si, mas todo mundo conversar assim junto, interagir. Faz tempo que eu não sinto isso, tá ligado? Com vocês é normal isso? Não? Ainda bem que nessa época não tinha celular, né?
You were late for supper. That's not what I call watching over our Lord.
Hey, don't make trouble.
Olha lá, aumenta ali mais alguma coisa, olha lá, ó. Furtividade.
I needed a bit of peace and quiet. I had a stroll around, checking out what plants grow here, praying for the success of our mission. Then I came back.
At last someone with some sense who's not in a hurry all the time.
If I always had to think everything over, but...
I wouldn't have rolled in the hay with so many girls if I spent my time just thinking about it.
Thanks for the prayer, anyway.
Cara, é o tipo de jogo que eu jogaria, viu, galera?
About, time, sir?
Profundidade, manja, tem profundidade.
Will we be getting any time off, sir?
It depends. Once von Berghoff hears us out, we should set off back home immediately.
What? Straight back on the road?
Well, we could stay a day or two, perhaps.
Does anyone know anything more about von Berghoff?
Only what Sir Hans told us, that von Berghoff is a big cheese in the royal court. That's why we're going to negotiate an alliance with him.
You summed that up nicely. But yes, that's how it is. He's the Royal Chamberlain. You fellas will never meet a more important noble than him.
I heard he insists on having the finest swords, and that he's got a big collection of all kinds of swords and daggers.
Collecting them ain't the same as knowing how to use them.
And is he any good at sword fighting? It ain't nothing easy to learn.
The sword is the weapon of a master. Balanced, fast, and
Pela quantidade de conversa, eu percebo que o jogo, né, que nem eu falei agora há pouco, ele tem bastante profundidade, né, nos assuntos, nas coisas. Pergunto, eu gosto muito disso em games, tá? Por isso que eu gosto muito de RPG. Vocês também gostam? E mais, pergunto de novo, o primeiro é assim? Se o primeiro for nessa pegada aqui, eu gostei. Já deu pra sentir que é o meu tipo de game, no qual, se eu prestar atenção, eu vou conseguir imergir. O primeiro é assim? Se for, galera, eu acho que eu vou comprar esse game e vou trazer pra vocês. Ele tá R$14, eu acho.
suitable for all situations. Of course, you have to train with it and try to improve your technique, but the result is worth it.
I get it. It was just a training fight. Pardon me.
Oh, swords, swords, swords. No doubt you're going to tell us again how the perfidious Istvan Toth stole your sword. And I thought you'd come round to thinking about other things.
That sword is the only reminder I had of Pa. We forged it together, just before he was slain. But that's another matter. I suppose you've heard enough of that, eh?
Well, you know.
Nah, it's all right.
Well, I wouldn't want to be in Istvan's shoes if you ever come face to face with him again.
What? So Radzig ain't dead, though?
Enough, enough. Otherwise we'll be here for hours again hearing how Martin the Smith raised him even though Radzig is his real father. It's complicated, and let's leave it at that. No offense.
Who'll help me tomorrow with getting supplies for the journey back?
We rolled dice for it, and I won. So Conrad goes.
What are you on about?
Enough. Oath, you're no fun at all. There'll be a feast at the castle tomorrow, so forget about supplies.
Anyone for another helping? There's plenty left. Maybe even a bit for morning. Hmm?
No thanks. I must wash myself down a bit.
My words exactly. We can't turn up at Trotsky tomorrow in this state.
Let's go and strip, Henry. Fellas, come and help us get out of this armor.
Are you really going to bathe here, Sir Hans? It don't look none too safe a spot to me.
Oh, don't be such an old woman, Oates. Bring some wine to warm our blood.
Yeah, we're not on a trip to the baths here, Sir Hans.
Henry's right, sir. Duty first, fun later.
God's wounds. I haven't been away from Rattay in ages.
So, here, I intend to live a little. Blasted iron shirt. Oh, what a relief.
Nossa, deve ser horrível usar essas armaduras, né, mano? Como esses caras conseguiam, velho? Vai dar ruim com esse cara, hein, mano?
Will I ever live to see his young lordship finally grow up? He's got a good heart, but he doesn't have the sense that he was born with.
Well, responsibility will catch up with him soon enough, though.
There's more chance of me becoming a monk.
That's a view fit for a king.
Whew. You were right about our stench.
Let's hope this water isn't too cold. You wouldn't want your pride and joy shrinking.
I'm more worried about it being too deep.
Come on. shrivels the old ballsack.
Cara, esse cara é muito tonto.
What's the matter?
Opa.
Females! Let's go to them.
Sir Hans.
Oh, shut up and let's go. But quietly. We don't want them to spot us.
Hans.
We'll have plenty of more from Kingdom Come Deliverance II throughout December. But for everything else, stick with...
Pô, parece legal, hein? E aqui os caras já meteram um preview também. Ô, galera, vamos ver. Vamos aproveitar e já vamos ver já o preview.
Richtig.
It's about to kick off in the center of Kuttenberg, the sprawling medieval city at the heart of Kingdom Come Deliverance II.
I challenge you to a duel mit Langschwertern.
Menhard the Swordmaster has offered to teach protagonist Henry of Skalitz a few tricks with the blade, but the lesson's been interrupted by Kuttenberg's official fencing guild. They won't let Menhard teach so much as a pommel strike, despite him having a charter from King Wenceslas to do just that. Moreover, they're going to fine the old Fechtmeister for breaching their rules. Things are getting heated, with the chance of a real sword fight breaking out growing by the second. But Henry has an idea. Menhard wasn't teaching me anything, he blurts out. We were dueling because I insulted his honor. Reacting quickly, I decide to have Henry say that he slept with Menhard's daughter. I don't know whether Menhard has a daughter, but it seems like the sort of thing medieval people would get into a duel over, so I roll with it. It works. The Guildmaster buys my bald-faced lie and waives the fine, though Menhard is still prohibited from teaching longsword in the city. With a fight avoided, I turn to Menhard expecting him to be grateful. Instead, he's furious. It seems Menhard really does have a daughter, and the very idea of Henry sleeping with her has genuinely insulted his honor. Oops. With their relationship damaged, Henry must desperately placate the raging swordmaster before they can focus on more important matters, like plotting how to get back at Kuttenberg's fencing guild. Kingdom Come Deliverance II is shaping up to be an even bigger RPG than the original, a 100-plus hour epic featuring massive battles, sweeping bohemian landscapes, and a fully simulated medieval metropolis. But at Warhorse Studios' preview event hosted in the real-life city of Kutna-Hora, the modern Czech name for Kuttenberg, it was this throwaway detail that stuck with me the most. Warhorse claims every choice the player makes in its RPG will feel like it matters, and this dramatic response to a decision I barely thought about was the first, but not the last, indicator that KCD2 could well deliver on this promise.
Cara, o jogo parece muito bonito, cara. Grande.
It'll be several hours before KCD2 opens up to you in this way, however. Warhorse provided access to 2 separate chunks of the game, the first of which took place right at the beginning. Kingdom Come Deliverance II opens in Medias Res with an explosive castle siege where you defend the ramparts with crossbow and longsword. Warhorse says KCD2 will feature substantially larger battles than the previous game, and this initial sequence was an impressive taster of playing at a larger scale.
Legal.
From booting down siege ladders from the castle wall, to firing crossbow bolts into a crush of enemy soldiers as they come barreling through the gate. Following this exciting opening, KCD2 rewinds to connect with the end of the first game, as we rejoin Henry and his friend and liege lord
eu vou precisar jogar o primeiro então. Me parece que esse Harry aí é importante, tá ligado?
This initial hour is strictly linear and heavy on cutscenes, but it keeps you engaged through the feel-good vibes of Henry and Hans's friendship.
Should we get ready for a fight?
Take it easy, Henry. Like the first Kingdom Come, the sequel is written in a very humanistic style. Henry remains a deeply affable, fish-out-of-water protagonist.
Olha lá, Henry é o protagonista.
Sir Hans's squire leads to an interesting blend
Desse e
of
do outro jogo, pelo
camaraderie
jeito.
and tension between the two. Together, the pair have big lads on tour energy, clearly reveling in the rare freedom their position and assignment affords them in medieval society. It isn't all fun and games, however. An encounter with a retinue of Burgos knights emphasizes the danger that lurks around every corner, as the two have to convince the armed horsemen that they aren't bandits.
Can you not distinguish between a noble and a bandit, sir?
It's not always that straightforward these days.
It's the first of many elaborate dialogue sequences with numerous player choices and a lot of exposition. Indeed, while KCD's conversations are generally interesting, I did wonder if they might benefit from some sterner editing at times. KCD 2 is built to be played with no foreknowledge of the original. As such, the opening hours fold in several refresher tutorials, such as Henry and Hans having a friendly duel that reintroduces you to KCD's unique sword fighting system.
You fight like an old hag!
This has been refined for the sequel, reducing the number of directions you can swing your sword from 5 to 4, and making actions like parrying and riposting easier to pull off. While it's been years since I played the first game, I was nonetheless able to hold my own against Sir Hans after a few minutes of instruction, suggesting that Warhorse's changes have indeed made the system easier to grapple with. The sequel also introduces bespoke fighting systems for certain non-sword weapons like maces, letting players who don't fancy mastering the blade to adopt the simpler approach of cracking skulls. The introduction culminates in Henry and Hans taking a bath in the river, followed by a goofy scene where they sneak through the reeds along the riverbank, drawn by the sound of peasant women singing nearby. The scene quickly takes a darker turn, however, as the pair's camp is attacked by bandits, whereupon they're forced to flee into the woods wearing nothing but their pants.
Caraca.
It's a sequence that shifts between dramatic and comedic multiple times, and the game handles those tonal changes well. Through a series of unfortunate events, Henry and Hans end up in the care of a local peasant woman, where we get a chance to see the quieter side of KCD2. One of the original strengths was how it strived to immerse players in moment-to-moment play, and KCD2 seems just as indulgent in this regard. Simple actions like eating stew from a pot and picking herbs to make potions are depicted with intensely detailed first-person animations, while the Bohemian forests you explore are verdant and alive with birdsong.
Da hora.
There's a chance to experiment with the updated alchemy system, which is even more tactile and involved than the first game, with you sprinkling ingredients into a big cauldron before adjusting its height with a lever to change the heat level. Later, when Henry has to fight and kill a couple of bandits who come looking for him, an optional objective unlocks to bury the bodies away from the peasant woman's home, and you can go through the entire process of putting these wayward souls to rest.
You can talk to me, or talk to cold steel.
Everything in this initial demo suggests KCD2 will retain the original's capacity for letting players steep in its medieval setting. What it didn't show was anything wildly new. For this, the second demo was more promising. This fast-forwarded the campaign to the 50-hour mark, where Henry arrives in Gutenberg. This medieval metropolis
Nessa demo
is the
aqui já jogaram um cara com
largest
50
urban
horas de
space seen
jogo.
in the series yet. A bustling environment where every NPC has their own daily routines and behaviors. It's here where Henry encounters the swordmaster Menhard and becomes embroiled in the dispute over who has the rights to teach longsword in the city. To settle the disagreement, Menhard hatches a plan and asks Henry to steal the Fencing Guild's official sword and hang it on the wall of the Rathaus, the town hall. This, Menhard explains, is the formal way of issuing a challenge of arms to the town, a challenge which Menhard could then accept to prove his martial superiority. Of course, this means sneaking into a guild hall filled with master swordsmen, which Menhard wisely suggests you do at night, though you are free to try it in the daytime if you wish. Yet even in darkness, clandestine activities are a risky business in Gutenberg. Anyone walking around at night is expected to carry a torch, and not doing so will get you in trouble with the guards. Having successfully evaded the city watch, I then have to climb over the wall of the guild house, pick the lock on one of several potential entrances, find the sword, and escape. Here, the open-ended nature of KCD2 becomes much more apparent, with the quest feeling closer in spirit to a game like Dishonored than the more directed sequences of the early game. The first time I attempt the theft, things go south quickly. I pick the lock, but attract the attention of one of the night watchmen, who relocks the door after searching for me.
You can't be here.
I pick the lock again and proceed 3 steps into the building before I'm rumbled. I try to fight my way out with fisticuffs, managing to knock out one of the night watchmen, but another has roused the town guard who come barreling in with swords drawn to quickly cut me down. In my second attempt, I'm more careful and succeed in lifting the sword unnoticed and hanging it on the wall of the Rathaus. This would be a natural endpoint for the quest, but it proves to be far from over. Succeeding in the theft leads to a multi-stage longsword tournament between Menhard and the Swordmasters Guild, and you can choose to be sworn in under Menhard's stewardship and fight for his honor and right to teach longsword in the city. Moreover, the quest can alter in multiple ways depending on your actions, both in narrative choices and general play. If you steal the sword but are spotted doing so, for example, the guild will accuse you of the theft when Menhard accepts their challenge. Consequently, the Swordmasters Guild is given heavier armor during the tournament, making the fight more difficult on your end.
Que loucura!
This elaborate structure isn't entirely surprising. Quest design was one of the first game's
Que
strengths
legal,
too.
mano.
Nonetheless, it certainly feels like the sequel is operating at a higher level amid the busy streets of Kuttenberg. And if Menhard's quest is reflective of the sequel's 100+ hour total, then Kingdom Come Deliverance II could end up being something rather special indeed.
I'd be a fool to say no to that.
My thoughts exactly, Goodman.
For more on Kingdom Come Deliverance II, don't miss the announcement trailer and the Saints and Sinners trailer. And for everything else in the world of video games, stick with
Bacana.
IGN.
Bacana. E por fim, o trailer. Calma, mas o trailer em 4K tá pesado.
Laid plans of men don't always come to fruition. Man proposes, but God disposes. And then boots you right in the balls.
These 2 young fellas, I need to find them. One's a smart-ass smith, and the other's a blue-blooded fledgling.
You behave like a spoilt brat.
How dare you speak?
Gentlemen, praise be to our Lord Jesus Christ.
Our Father, there are many sinners in this world. But in the end, we all face your judgment for what we should have done, but lacked the courage to do.
The last time I ran away, I lost everything. I'm never gonna run from that fucker again.
Kiss our asses! God, is this retribution for my sins?
Pô.
To the task!
Come on! Fucking task.
Ok, me convenceu, galera. Me convenceu. Eita, mano, não sei desde que hora que minha câmera tava afastada aqui. Acho que eu acabei desabilitando ela sem querer, foi mal. Cara, me convenceu. Gostei. Gostei de verdade, mano. Já vou pegar o primeiro. E quem sabe entre hoje e amanhã a gente começa a fazer a live do jogo, né? Bom, mas me respondam. Khalil, já espera pra começar do segundo ou não? Khalil, já começa do primeiro mesmo, que é da hora, dá tempo, é legal. Quero saber a sua opinião. Por hora, eu achei muito interessante. E eu vou jogar. Pelo fato de ser medieval, gosto muito de histórias medievais. E pelo lance da tamanha abertura que o jogo dá, aparentemente, né? Você tem muita liberdade. Eu gosto desse tipo de coisa. Bom, comenta aí o que você achou. Beijo no coração, é nóis, galera. Valeu!